Did you know I ran across another quote by Kurt Vonnegut that really was appropriate to the meaning of life? So let me quote him from Cat's Cradle. In the beginning, God created the earth, and he looked upon it in his cosmic loneliness. And God said, "Let us make living creatures out of the mud, so the mud can see what we have done." And God created every living creature that now moves, and one was man. Mud, as man, alone could speak. And God leaned close as man sat, looked around, and spoke. "What is the purpose of this life?" man asked politely. And God said, "Everything must have a purpose?" Man said, "Certainly." "Then I leave it to you," God said. "I leave it to you to think of one for all of this." And then he went away. Well, I think that's really the truth of the whole situation and circumstance when we talk about looking for the meaning of life. Of course, God is not a he, and it is an essence, a love, a principle, and that principle of God never left. But he and it and we are all here to give life our own meaning and our own purpose. Joseph Campbell said, "Life has no meaning. Each of us has meaning and we bring it to life. It is a waste to be asking the question when you have the answer." So the meaning of life is what we give it, what purpose we give to that which we are. And God, as the essence, is personally involved with us through love, helping us create what it is that we feel we must bring into this world, the meaning for ourselves. It's up to us. It's not that God has proclaimed a destiny for each one of us. Our own destiny is what we must proclaim. I'm still shaking. So, I want to share a story that I'm very fond of by Robert Fulghum. And it's from his book, "What on Earth Have I Done?" And in this book, he talks about having met Alexander Papadreos. Now, Alexander Papadreos was from the island of Crete, and he was trained in Germany, educated in Germany. And during the Second World War, the Cretes and the Germans had some really horrendous confrontations, and practically the whole island of Crete was annihilated because of their bravery. So Alexander Papadreos made it his passion to bring reconciliation between Crete and Germany. And in the process of doing that, he was able to talk a monastery in Crete into supporting and creating a school that would teach the culture, the Grecian culture, and as a way of understanding. And it was world famous, and the classes were 2 weeks long to learn Greek culture. And Robert Fulghum, who was a Unitarian minister, he's retired now. He was a Unitarian minister, and he happened to go to this school in Crete. And he's a little bit smart-alecky. And so first let me just read you how he described Papadreas. He said, Alexander Papadreas, one look at him and you understood, saw his strength and intensity, energy, physical power, courage, intelligence, passion, and vivacity radiated from his person. And so, to speak to him, to shake his hand, and to be in the room with him when he spoke was to experience his extraordinary humanity. Few men live up to their reputation when you get close. Alexander Papadreas was the exception. And so Smarty Pants, Robert Fulgham, at the end of the class, after 2 weeks of being with him and being in his presence, came to the end, and Papadreas walked to the front of the room and said, "Are there any last questions?" And there was this nervous silence, quiet, after 2 weeks of having asked a lot of questions. So Smarty Pants said, "What is the meaning of life?" And there was a titter in the room, and people gathered their things up in preparation for leaving. And Robert Fulgham and Papadreas had an exchange of eyes. Do you really want to know the meaning of life? And so I'll let him tell the story. I will answer your question. When I was a small child, during the war, we were very poor, and we lived in a remote mountain village. One day, on the road, I found a broken piece of mirror. A German motorcycle had been wrecked in that place. I tried to find all the pieces of the mirror and put them together, but it was not possible. So I kept only the largest piece, this one that he took from his wallet and showed. And by scratching it on stone, he said, I made it round. I began to play with it as a toy and became fascinated by the fact that I could reflect light into dark places where the sun would never shine, in deep holes and crevices and dark closets and behind walls. It became a game for me to get light into the most inaccessible places I could find. I kept the little mirror, and as I grew, I would take it out in idle moments and continue the challenge of the game. As I became a man, I grew to understand that this was not just a child's game, but a metaphor for what I might do with my life. I came to understand that I am not the light or the source of the light, but light, the light of truth, understanding and knowledge is there. And that light will only shine in the many dark places that I reflect it. I am a fragment of the mirror. I am a fragment of the mirror whose design and shape I do not know. Nevertheless, with what I have, I can reflect the light into the dark places of this world, into the dreary places, in the hearts of men, and change some things in some people. Perhaps others may see and do likewise. This is what I am about. This is the meaning of my life. And Robert Fulgham continues. And then he took the small mirror and, holding it carefully, caught the bright rays of the daylight streaming through the window and reflected them into my face and onto my hands. Much of what I experienced in the way of information about Greek culture and history that summer is gone from memory. But in the wallet of my mind, I carry a small, round mirror still. I know what I can do with it and what it can do with me. And he asks, are there any questions? Now, the postscript to that story is that a little bit later, he received, as a Christmas gift, a little leather bag from Papa Dreos, and it contained the mirror. And Hermann Hesse has said, I believe that I am not responsible for the meaningfulness or meaninglessness of life, but I am responsible for what I do with the life I have. And so at this time of the light season, the season of light, I think it's important for each one of us to think about where we can shine our personal light. Where can we shine into the hearts of those that are sad or dark? How can we be the light that gives meaning to our own lives and perhaps meaning to the lives of others? As Joseph Campbell said, each of us has meaning and we bring it to life. It is a waste to ask the question when you are the answer. I am so proud to stand here today, to have been accepted by this community so generously. Community that would bring my children here. You've shined your light into my life for over a year. And you have no idea how important you are to me. Thank you so much. I love you all most sincerely. Stay. So I would invite the practitioners to stand and help me hold the consciousness for this room as we pray. So before I do that, I have to tell you that my children don't necessarily follow these principles in a formal way. But everything at Christmas Eve, they would go to church. And they would behave in such a giggly, obnoxious way. And their dad was like the leader of the pack. So as I pray, we can expect the Allen clan to probably giggle and be who they are. So accept their lights.
We do.
Good. Wow, my heart is so full. And I am just filled with so much gratitude and so much joy. And what a lovely, amazing gift this community has been to my life. And I know that each one of you, with all of your goodness, all of your sweetness, all of your divine spirit, is a walking light wherever you go. And you don't have to convince anyone of the principles of this community. You don't have to convince anyone of the philosophy. You are the meaning by your life and your light. I am so grateful for the power of this spiritual community. And it was my goal when I first arrived to create that, a community that lives spiritual principles. And I feel very blessed that that is what has unfolded and continues to unfold. So I hold good and more good, blessings and more blessings, joy, peace, abundance, dynamic, vital, good health to shine onto, through, and within this community and each person who is here or who is unable to be here. Each person whose heart holds this philosophy tenderly. And so I just know that that essence, that spiritual divinity, that foundation of cosmic creation is smiling and very happy with the way this mud has turned into glorious statues of the divine. And so with gratitude, I just know that that is done. I declare it done. And I give thanks for it. And I invite you to join with me as I just anchor it in the truth by saying, and so it is.